Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing on today? I am super duper excited, guys, because I am with my friend Renee Ryan. And guys, you guessed it. Today is her day. It is release day. The Paris Housekeeper. Guys, it is live and in color. We will definitely be sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of this amazing, beautiful story, well written story
Oh,
by
thank
author
you.
Renee Ryan. Renee, first of all, my friend, happy release day. I'm so excited for you on today as well. And I know today is busy for you. Guys,
Mhm.
Renee is hopping on to hang out with us to celebrate a little bit of her day with us on today. And Renee, for those who may not know you, introduce yourself, my friend.
Okay. I'm Renee Ryan, and I apologize. I'm actually holding my phone up. I'm not on my computer. I don't have my lighting. So y'all are getting the real Renee. There ain't no sort of no filters, no nothing. This is me after 50 hours of retail the past week. I work retail for my day job. Cosmetics executive. And then I'm also a published author. I write as Renee Ryan. I write historical fiction and historical romance and a few contemporary romances. And you still got me? And we going still? We're good? Yeah.
I still got
Okay,
you.
good. And The Paris Housekeeper is my 25th book with Harlequin and my 35th published novel. Yeah. So
That
exciting.
is awesome, Renee. Congratulations. So, in addition
Thank
to it being
you.
a release day, this is the 25th book, which is a huge. So, guys, definitely in the comment section, wish author Renee Ryan a happy release day on today. We have Tiffany of Tiff's Happy Place hanging out with us on today. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Mama Tony of Mama Tony's Book Nook hanging out with us on today. And of course, guys, you know what to do. Like, tag, and share. Tell a friend to come on down to the cafe because we're celebrating with Renee Ryan on today. Now, Renee, you know the first thing that we have to talk about as we celebrate, guys. I don't know about you, but if you see this beautiful cover, okay, when
Oh yeah.
Renee did her cover reveal a while back, I was like,
Hmm.
Renee, I am in. I want to read this book. Oh my goodness. Renee, this cover is gorgeous, my friend. Please share with us what was your impression when you first saw your cover for this amazing story, The Paris Housekeeper.
So thank you, by the way. It's interesting. I always have in my mind what I think it's supposed to look like, what it's gonna look like, what they're gonna do with it. And because the heroine works at the Ritz, they wore a navy blue, dark black uniform. So when I saw the green uniform, being a perfectionist, I was like, well, but I love the green and I think it really pops. So I had like a second of, twitching. Oh no, it doesn't look like a Hotel Ritz uniform. But then I was like, but it's fabulous. So I got over
Yes.
that real quick.
And like you said, the green does give it a pop as
Yes.
well, and with the coloring and what's going on in the background. Of course, guys, this isn't a historical fiction. It's in the World War II
Yep.
era as well. And Renee, we're gonna talk a little bit about the Ritz. You did give them a little bit to let them know that the backdrop happens at the Ritz Hotel in
Yes.
Paris, France, or what have you during this time. But before we
Hmm.
go there, Renee, if you could spill a little bit of tea for us on your release day, the name or title of this book is The Paris Housekeeper. Okay, my
Hmm.
friend, was this your original working title for this amazing story, or it comma evolved? Tell us a little bit about this title, The Paris Housekeeper.
This actually, it's the first time in 35 books that it was my original title and they went with it.
I love
First time
that.
ever
Yes.
that happened. So
Well, congratulations on that as well. That is huge. And guys, once you read this amazing story, you will total get the title of this book, The Paris
yes.
Housekeeper, as well. Well, Renee, I am again super duper excited for you, super proud of you. This is an amazing story as well. And it takes place with three individuals, three
Mm-hmm.
women, guys, that are going through this time where the Germans have evaded Paris and they're in
Yes.
the Ritz hotel, or what
Right.
have you. And I want for you to tell us a little bit, Renee, when you was writing this story, if you can kind of spill a little bit of tea for
Mm-hmm.
us, what came first? Okay. Was it the characters or was it the plot?
Oh, good. Well, I came across this real person named Irene Goot, who
Okay.
she had been a housekeeper for a Nazi in Poland, and she managed to hide 13, I think 13 Jews in the basement of the Nazi that she was the housekeeper in his home, and they all survived, including one of them had been an infant, and somehow they
Wow.
kept that infant quiet for 3 years. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, I got to tell that story, but I got to do it my
Yes.
way, which is when the characters started developing. And
Okay.
so
Okay.
and I thought, well, if you're living in Paris, where would you be a housekeeper? Where's the best
Yeah.
place to be a housekeeper? Well, I thought, well, let's just go glam. And so that was where the Ritz came in.
Wow. So is
Yeah,
it safe to say that coming across that story that also is like the inspiration of bringing this story to light as well?
for sure. Because I wanted to honor Irene, but not retell her story.
Okay.
Because I thought, I kept thinking, you've heard all kinds of stories about people that hid Jews from, the Nazis. And I thought, this is really interesting, right under their nose. And
Okay.
I thought, yeah, I got to tell that. That's the story I want to tell.
Wow,
So,
wow. Well,
yeah,
guys, if you are just joining us, we are hanging out with author Renee Ryan on today, and we are celebrating with her on today as well, guys. Live and in color. Today is Renee's day, the Paris Housekeeper. It is definitely available in ebook and print as well. And we will be sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of this amazing, amazing story. And of course, if you have a quick question for Renee, put it in the comment section. We'll be sure to include you
for
as
sure.
well. Now, Renee, in telling this amazing story, of course, we definitely have to talk a little bit about these three amazing women that
Mm-hmm.
kind of have three different perspectives going on, but it
Right.
all kind of ties in. Can you tell us a little bit about each character a little bit? But let's start. First off, let's start with Camille. What can you
Yep.
share with us about Camille's character?
Well, Camille came, I knew Camille was the original housekeeper, and I wanted a
Okay.
housekeeper. And I thought, let's make her a chambermaid, not a housekeeper, which is what they were
Hmm.
really called. So I started with her, and I thought, why is she in Paris and not at home? And I
Right.
have family. And I started kind of thinking, why would someone that has family be working in Paris? Why couldn't they go home when so many other people were going home? And so then I thought, why would she want to not go home? And so I gave her the sister with what we would now call PTSD, but back then they didn't really know what that was. And
Right.
so she could not make the kind of money at home that she can in Paris. And also, it was a little bit of an escape away from all the problems at home. So she sent all her money home. So I started with her, and I wanted to give her a heroic reason for staying with and not send home when she's the oldest sister. And so that's where her story came from. And she felt really guilty because the reason that the sister has the PTSD is she witnessed her father's suicide because
Yeah.
Camille was supposed to be watching her and wasn't, this little 7-year-old. And so she carries a lot of guilt. And so
Yeah.
she has to deal with that. And so that sort of is how I wanted to show that she's brave, but she's also very normal and regular. And oh my goodness, what a terrible thing. What a terrible burden to carry.
And guys, just to give you a little bit, even like on the back, this story, again, it talks about the bravery and the resilience of these three women in Paris during this time, who, trust me, they face impossible choices to survive. And
Yeah.
even when reading this story, Renee, I love how you paint that picture, because they each had their reasons. Because, guys, of course, the Germans are coming, and then when they finally evade, there was even like a little slither of a window to say, hey, if you leave now, you could possibly get out or what have you. But
Right.
each one of these individuals had a reason of why they stayed, or what have you. Now, the next person, if you can tell us a little bit about, is Vivian. She's actually the American, who
Hmm.
actually, guys, lives inside of the Ritz or what have you. But what can you tell us about Vivian's character?
Well, a lot of there were a lot of American expatriates that lived at the Ritz during this time. Think Ernest Hemingway. It was quite this sort of salon group of people, sort of like the Algonquin here in America. And really, what it was Vivian was she was actually modeled after Laura May Corrigan, a real person.
Wow.
And Laura May Corrigan was this wealthy, wealthy American heiress that stayed until the Germans came. And then the Americans, because she stayed, decided that they didn't trust her loyalty. And so they froze all her money.
Wow.
And so I wanted to give Vivian more than just, and Laura May, she gave a lot of money and worked with the Red Cross. So she worked with the nurses and the wounded soldiers over there during the war. But I wanted to give Vivian more of a clandestine sort of job. And so
Mm-hmm.
she uses her money to get like paperwork and, like little, the documents, the false documents to get people out. And so that's sort of her reason for staying. She's lost her
Mm-hmm.
husband. She's got all this money and she doesn't have anywhere to go. She's never really been accepted because it was a May-December marriage and everyone
Yes.
thought she married him for his money. And so she's sort of, this is sort of her her chance at redemption, but at the
Yes.
same time, doesn't have really anywhere else to go. And so
Right.
that's, I wanted to trap these people, give them nowhere else to go, but still have to make the right decision.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. I love that. And of course, guys, you have to tell us a little bit about Rachel's
Uh,
character as well. What can you tell us about Rachel's character?
so Rachel is Jewish, but she
Mhm.
is a racial Jew. She is not a practicing Orthodox religious Jew. And she's with
Right.
the family. She's never learned much about the religion. They don't go to synagogue. They don't say the prayers. They don't celebrate the high holy days. And so you've got this woman who is being targeted because of her race, not her religion. And I think
Mhm.
a lot of people don't understand that it was they even have this movie. I think I pointed that out in the book that they were the whole movie that they showed to all over Paris was to teach people how to find the racial Jews, like whether or not a person was Jewish was by the shape of their nose and the color of their skin. And so that I kind of wanted to highlight that part of the this anti-Semitism, that it wasn't just that I think a lot of people get confused, that is it a race? Are Jews a race? Are they religious? And they're from the Middle East. They're a racial, it's a racial group. And those were the ones, they were called anti-racial laws against the Jews. And so
Mm.
I kind of wanted to highlight that to sort of show that it wasn't just about the fact that they all went to synagogue and that it wasn't a Christian
Mm.
Jewish argument, that it really was more than that. And Rachel is very angry. Wouldn't you say she's kind of angry in this book? Because nobody seems
Yeah.
to understand how bad this is. And everyone keeps thinking,
Yeah.
oh, but we're French. We've
Right.
assimilated.
Yeah.
Our neighbors love us, but they
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
They,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Because
Yeah.
even remember her father, he was like, "We'll stay." He was like, we're French, and exactly what you were saying, as well about that our neighbors love us, and
We'll
we'll be
trust our
okay.
neighbors. Yeah, they'll take
Yeah.
care of us.
And Rachel was
And
just
they did
like,
not.
Dad, please, let's leave, or what have you. Guys, if you are just joining us, we are celebrating with author Renee Ryan on today, guys. Today is her book birthday, The Paris Housekeeper. Check out that beautiful cover, guys. It is available on today, live and in color. And again, Renee, happy release day. And thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for coming and celebrating with us on today.
I
We know that you
appreciate
could
you
have done
having me for
anything.
sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. And if you guys are just joining us, of course, we are talking about the Paris Keeper, and we will be sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of this amazing, amazing story. Now, Renee, I want to ask you this a little bit about the characters, because when you think about the characters and what they're going through during this time,
Mhm.
in addition to the three women together, they all have like their own backstory of why they're having to remain in this
Right.
particular situation when all of this is going on, in the backdrop, and it's a dangerous time, or what have you. When you think about them, and it could be these three characters or any of the other characters in the book, is there a character for you that was like the most interesting to write in this book, The Paris Housekeeper? And then at the same time, is there a character that was like the most difficult or complex to write where you kind of had to like sit with that character? So kind of like a two-part question.
Okay. I like that. I would say Rachel was my most fun character because I wanted to write a Jewish character, but not do a cultural appropriation and just really understand. I went to a private boarding school. I was a day student, and we had like 70% were Jewish attendees, and so I just really wanted to understand the Jewish experience, and so I loved digging into that and just creating this person who has absolutely done nothing to bring on all this. Well, it's more than just prejudice or anti-Semitism. I mean, it
Mhm.
literally is, a racial an attack. And they arrested them, rounded it up, and then sent them to Auschwitz and gassed them. I mean, it wasn't just we don't like
Yeah.
you; it was we want you dead. And I wanted to find out what
Hmm.
it must be like on that side. And I think we've all, I don't know anyone that hasn't been bullied on some level. And so, taking it to such a whole different level. So I really enjoyed digging into her character for
Wow.
just to try and get into put myself in someone else's shoes. So I really enjoyed that. I would say Vivian was my most challenging character because she makes a lot of bad choices and does a lot of convincing herself that she's making them for all the right reasons. But as you get
Right.
to the very end, you realize she is yet still somewhat selfish, even though she tries to fix that really bad mistake she makes at the end.
Yeah.
She's a train wreck, and in some ways, she's the villain, even more
Mm,
so than I think the man that she's involved in. And I wanted
mm.
to try and write a sympathetic, multidimensional anti-hero. And I guess maybe she's an
Wow.
anti-hero, not a villain. And so many times we make those people cardboard. And I would say I wish I had more time on the page to really dig more
Okay.
into her. Um, but she was truly not somebody that I could make sympathetic enough to justify giving her more time on the page. Does that
Wow.
make sense?
Okay. Mhm,
Yeah.
that makes sense, that makes sense. Thank you so much for sharing that as well, and I'm sure for you, there was a lot of, research, that you
Oh
had
yeah.
to do, for this. Can you share with us what was the research like for Renee?
Oh my gosh. I have books like this thick. I mean, I'm talking, super thick, about the resistance movement, even though none of them are in the resistance movement. I had to understand the timeline, the French war timeline. I had to also understand how my story timeline fit into the actual war. So I had to know three timelines. I had to know the World War II European campaign timeline. I had to know
Mhm.
the American timeline. I had to know the
Oh,
French timeline. And then I had to know the German timeline. And I had to figure out how to merge all those events into this book. And so I would say that was
wow.
probably the hardest, most challenging part of this job, for sure.
I'm sure.
Mhm.
And to make sure that they all flow and they make sense and they're accurate, as well too. So wow.
I had
So
story charts,
kudos.
I had timelines, I was moving post-its around. It was crazy.
Wow, wow. And guys, I'm just going to read a little bit of the back blurb to kind of paint the picture of an amazing job that Renee has done. And again, we are just so excited for her that today is her release day as well. But Paris 1940, German tanks rumbled through the streets of Paris, forcing frightened citizens to flee. But not everyone had the luxury to leave. Camille Lacroix, a chambermaid at the world famous Hotel Ritz, must stay to support her family back home in Brittany. Desperate to earn money, Camille also acts as a lady maid for longtime guest Vivian Miller, a glamorous American widow and a Nazi sympathizer.
Mhm.
Despite her distrust of the woman, Camille turns to Vivian when her friend and fellow hotel maid, Rachel Berman, needs help getting out of Paris. It's then that Camille discovers that Vivian is not what she seems. The American has been using her wealth and connections to secretly obtain travel papers for Jewish refugees. While hiding Rachel in an underground bunker under a Nazi's nose, a daring escape plan is hatched. But as the net grows tighter and the Germans more ruthless, Camille's courage will be tested to the extreme. Guys,
Mhm.
that's just a little snippet of what the Paris Housekeeper is about. Let me just tell you, you are in for a treat. You will be sitting on edge as well. Renee, you had done an amazing job with this story as well. And guys, of course, if you have a question or two for Renee, put it in the comment section. We'll be sure to include you. Now, Renee, I want to ask you this because I know for me, as a reader, there were two things that may not have been individuals, but they was almost like characters themselves. And one was like
Mhm.
the Hotel Ritz or what have you. Tell us
Right.
about that, that as a character for you and what that was like bringing that atmosphere to light as well in this story.
Well, it's really a high-end, glamorous hotel. And yet the owner was Mimi Ritz, who was Swiss. And the whole reason that they stayed open during the war was that she's been convinced by her board that you're Swiss, thereby you're the owner, thereby the hotel is neutral because your country is
Mhm.
neutral. So you can then stay open because her concern was if I stay open, then I'm going to have Nazis running around. But if I close, I may never be able to get it back from them because they will
Mhm.
take it. And so it
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
somewhat of a kind of a rock and hard place. What do I do? So she makes the
Yeah.
decision to stay open. But then the Nazis come in, and I don't know if you've been to the Ritz or anybody that has been to the Ritz. It's really two buildings in one. And so you've got they're connected by this long hallway, and then there's the one really glamorous part that's at the place Vendome, and then the other one on the Rue Camden. And so all the really wealthy people were kicked out of their homes and their apartments and their rooms and sent to the other side of the Ritz, the
Yeah.
more shabbier side. And then they got to stay. All the Nazis took the best suites, and so I was just really wondering but from what I understand of, from all the things that I've looked into, a lot of clandestine activity in the Ritz, a lot of hobnobbing between the Parisians and Americans and people living there with the Nazis. It was just a really murky time, and people were
Mhm.
a lot of collaboration, but were they a lot of clandestine work? And it was such a hotbed for spies, but also a lot of. I just found the risk was really interesting because it was also a lot of selfish people who just wanted to maintain their luxurious life despite a war going on outside the building.
Right,
And so
right.
I wanted to
Mhm.
capture that it's remained a luxury hotel even during war.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
So
There you
yeah.
have it, guys. Renee is sharing with us a little bit about the Paris Housekeeper, guys. And today is release day, and we're so excited that Renee is hanging out and dropping by to talk about the Paris Housekeeper as well. Now, Renee, for you in doing your research and the same thing, coming across that amazing story that inspired inspired this book as well. In your research, was there one piece or several pieces of information that for you was like a wow factor? Like, wow, this was literally going on, or you found it as like a jewel to say, okay, somehow I have to incorporate this into this story.
Well, this is really probably not a good jewel, but what it was Camille's sister ended up playing a huge role for me and for my story because she was considered disabled. And what Hitler and the Nazis did during this time was he practiced his euthanasia program on the disabled and mentally challenged people. So, and it was a very open program. And so he literally attacked, and he went into like the insane asylums and the mental hospitals and mental institutions, and anyone that was considered disabled or things like that. He took them and then he euthanized them, and he practiced how to euthanize, he and his doctors. And so then once they got it perfected, that was when they turned it on the Jews. And
Wow.
I had kind of run across that maybe about 15 years ago when I was writing a World War II book set in Germany. It was a romance. And I remember thinking, wow, it kind of stayed in the back of my mind all this time. And that was one of those pieces that I thought, I bet 99% of the people that I know don't know about that, don't know how he created the euthanasia program and it was a very open thing. Like, it was not a secret in Germany that he was doing that. And so it was like when these people say Hitler warned us, we didn't know what he was doing. They weren't paying attention because it was very much going on.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow.
So, but then I gave it a kind of a spin because, as you know, I have a little itty bitty romance in there. And her sister,
Yes.
yeah, you know me, Angela. I know you liked that little piece, didn't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that was it was a way for me to have a little bit of a happy ending and a very sad story. Because her sister does
Okay.
ultimately get cured of her PTSD. I mean, a spoiler alert, but I think so that there is a positive ending, and the doctor is wonderful. That brings her to healing.
Yes, I love that. I love that as well. Guys, again, we are celebrating with author Renee Ryan on today. And of course, guys, there is going to be a giveaway. I'm going to share, allow Renee to share what the giveaway is going to be on today. Renee?
So I have obviously a copy of the book, but I also have this really fun little paper journal, a leather journal with Paris on the outside, and so that's going to go with it, and a pen. So just a really nice, a nice couple of little goodies that go with it. Yeah.
I love that. And of course, my friend, Renee, I'm going to get you to help me out on your release day. I'm going to go up and down the comment section on today, my friend, and you're going to tell me when to stop. And that person is going to get a copy of the Paris Keeper, as well as a pen and a nice little leather journal to go with it as well. Okay, they're saying great giveaway. Sounds wonderful as well. Okay, Renee, I am ready when you are, my friend.
Okay. Stop.
Okay. Mama Tony of Mama Tony Book Nook, today is your day, my friend. You are the winner of a copy of the Paris Keeper, as well as a pen and that nice little notebook as well. If you will inbox us your information, we'll be sure to get that out to you guys as well. And of course, we are definitely going to be sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of this amazing story, the Paris Housekeeper, as well. Renee, can you share with us how we can get our hands on a copy?
You can go to any online retailer. It's an audiobook, it's an ebook, it's in print. Amazon, Target, Barnes and Noble, any of your independent booksellers can get it. If you go to my Facebook page, Renee Ryan, I put release day post, and it has a link to all the places that you can get you can or pre-order or order the book. Not pre-order, you can actually order it now. Yay!
It's here, Renee. It is here. I love it. And in addition to that, guys, of course, you already know one of the sponsors of Angela's Literary Cafe, Riches in Reading, an indie bookstore. You can get it there as well at www.richesinreading.com. You can order a copy of the Paris Housekeeper as well, and any of the retailers that Renee has mentioned. And again, guys, ebook and print, you can get a copy of this amazing story. And of course, once you finish reading it, be sure to leave a review. I know that author Renee Ryan will be so appreciative of you guys doing that as well. If you see it out in the wild, of course, take a picture and like, tag, and share. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And Renee, it has been amazing, my friend, hanging out with you on today and celebrating the release of your 25th book with Harlequin. And then was it your 35th book out of all of your stories as well? So congratulations to you, my friend. And of course, I want to allow you to have the last words of what you want to say to the people tonight.
Well, first of all, I must apologize for my bad lighting. I'm in this office. It's making me look a lot older than I am. I mean,
Like,
there's
no
like all
problem,
this
Renee.
ultraviolet light. Anyway, so I apologize. Last word is you can go to my website. If you want to get into my newsletter, you can just click on newsletter, and then if you have any questions, you can contact me via reneeryan.com. And I just thank you so much for having me. And this release exclusive with Angela. I adore you. I mean, the fact that my maiden name is Anderson. I mean, a sister from another mister. I just adore you. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
I love it. I love it. And Renee, we love having you here at the cafe, my friend, as well. Guys, again, it has been amazing hanging out with Renee on today, celebrating the Paris Housekeeper. Go out, get you a copy, tell a friend to tell a friend. Be sure to follow Renee. As she said, you can go to her website. We'll put her website information in the comment section. You can sign up for her newsletter. You can follow her on social media. She's on Facebook. She's on Instagram. All of that good stuff. Follow her there. And just, again, tell everybody to go and get them a copy of this. And that is our show on today, guys. And as we always say, have an amazing day, because we're having an amazing day. And until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.